This image right here pisses me off, but more on that later, because this image made me go down a rabbit hole in the Dragon Ball Super manga where now I can 100% and clearly show how Bardock made Goku and Vegeta advance to the next level of their Ultra transformations, Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. And so without this image right here, more on that later, yeah, I would have never gone down this rabbit hole and I would have never had this video for you. So if you have any idea as to how Bardock has made Goku and Vegeta better at Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, which is something that we are going to be seeing in the new chapters of the Dragon Ball Super manga, chapter 103, 104, 105, let me know in the comment section below before you watch this video, and then after watching the video, let me know if you got it right or if you got it wrong, because in this video, not only am I going to be explaining to you guys how Bardock has changed Goku and Vegeta in the future of the DBS manga for the future, but also how this is going to affect the storyline moving forward. But as always, I want to give a huge shout out to my ground crew. You guys have been here day in and day out. You guys already know this spiel. Hitting the like button, commenting. You guys are going to get us to 500k this year, completing the 500k mortal plan. And if you want to be part of this dream, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, that way you don't miss any upload, any recent video, and we'll all get to this milestone and the completion of this plan together. Let's get started. So did I tell you that this image really pisses me off? I'll get to that in a second. As much as I have my money on Goku losing to Gohan in Dragon Ball Super chapter 103 or 104, whenever this fight is going to end, I am actually shocked that Goku is doing so good against Gohan in his mastered Ultra Instinct form and can easily go into it after the time skip, because remember, when he was having issues with this transformation, it was back in the Granolah arc, so there's been some time between then that he's gotten better. But how much better has Goku gotten? Well, I'm about to tell you right now, because it is all thanks to Bardock. Back in Dragon Ball Super chapter 69, we get this panel right here, and I've been talking about this for a few videos now for different reasons. It's very important, but it's really important for Vegeta because the story for the Granolah arc starts out with Vegeta basically having some sort of turmoil inside himself as to his ancestors, the Saiyans, and Saiyan pride. He is talking about the Saiyans and the sins that they caused by exterminating so many lives. So Vegeta is definitely at the beginning of this arc dwelling on the evil of the Saiyans and what they've done in the past and how that makes him guilty just because he is one of the surviving Saiyans and the crown prince of the Saiyans. His turmoil is pushed even more on the inside because of everything going on Planet Cereal, especially this powerful scene right here, one of the best scenes in the Dragon Ball Super Granolah arc, where he understands what happened to this planet, and Vegeta is really internalizing a lot of pain, a lot of suffering over what the Saiyans did. At the same time, Goku is having a hard time in this arc really mastering or using mastered Ultra Instinct in the way that Whis is trying to teach him. He is just having a hard time with the transformation, and part of me thinks that this is the reason that when Goku tries to fight somebody, at least in the past, he goes through several transformations because he is unsure which one to use. He is not super certain as to which one he would like to use. But all this comes to a change, a huge change in the Granolah arc when we get to the scene where Goku listens to Bardock's voice for the first time and has a flashback to his childhood. And for anybody saying that Goku doesn't care about his parents, like, you guys must have not read the exact same manga that I did, because this has profound changes on Goku that I'll dive into in a later video. but he is profoundly changed by what happens in this audio. Before the audio, Bardock made a decision, a very human decision, to save Granolah's mom, and the reason he did so is the very human reason that he felt some similarity between her and Gine. He even has a little flashback within the flashback of this happening, because he's starting to have a conscience and feels guilty as to what's happening to Granolah's mom because of Gine. So in the beginning of his story, he changes and becomes more human-like and a little bit less Saiyan-like. Fast forward to the audio, he's facing off against Gas, who is looking to destroy Bardock, and this fight goes as well as you'd expect because Gas is far stronger than Bardock. Even as a child, Gas is doing a number on him, and Bardock is fighting in front of Monaito and Granolah, who's passed out, trying to protect them, or at least that's the way it looks. Gas is having a difficult time putting Bardock down, so he decides to unleash his inner nature. It's like his version of a transformation, and now he's just far superior to Bardock. At the same time, Monaito decides that he's going to selfishly use the Dragon Balls to save Bardock because Bardock is trying to save them. When Bardock hears about this, he refuses to get help from Monaito and says a Saiyan would rather die than run from an enemy, and continues to fight Gas. Monaito says, "You showed real moral fiber saving us back there, and that was more than enough. I've got no doubt that the kindness in your heart is going to save someone else someday. That's why you need to live." Bardock responds, "Sorry, but I don't take orders from anyone. And I'm not leaving this place until I've beaten him." Monaito says, "What's it going to take to make you see reason? Fine, then tell me, is there another wish I could make for you?" And we get to the infamous scene where Bardock says that he just wants his sons to thrive, and that's a whole nother video right here where, you know, whether this wish actually went through or not, I'd have to do more research on it, but that's a completely different video. The fight continues. Bardock even loses his tail in the process. Like, this is a pretty epic fight here. Gas has to pull out more of that inner ability because he cannot put Bardock down like nothing is working, and even Gas says, "What do you hope to achieve? Why fight a battle you cannot win? Is this atonement as you face death? Are you atoning for the sins of all Saiyans by protecting the child? No. Revenge then, giving into your rage over us killing the Namekian and the Cerulean woman? Wrong again. Then why? Why fight? What is it running through your skull as you do battle?" And that's when Bardock goes into a state that, I don't know, maybe it's Spirit Unleashed from video games, or maybe it's just full Super Saiyan, I don't know. But he basically powers up, blocks the punch, and says, "Isn't it obvious by now? In a life and death battle, what sort of idiot would think about anything else besides victory?" Meaning that Bardock's not thinking about anything else besides putting Gas down, which he ultimately does, and he wins this fight. He's not fighting for revenge. He's not fighting for the sins of his comrades or anything like that. He's not even fighting because Granolah's mom is dead. Monaito is injured. He's not fighting for revenge. The only thing he's fighting for is because Gas is strong and he wants to beat him. That's literally it. He says it, "I fight when there's an enemy I want to beat down. Nothing more to it." Gas is astonished here. He's pushed back. He says, "How are you doing this? You Saiyans have no ascended states besides the Great Ape. You're ignorant and that's my fault? Nah. See, we Saiyans have a way of growing and evolving every time we push past our limits. That's absurd. I present a limit that no lowly Saiyan can surpass." And that is when Bardock literally breaks that limit that is basically a limit that is said that no Saiyan can surpass, basically, is what Gas said. So, I mean, it's kind of heavy-handed, but Bardock surpasses that limit, and then we get to this important scene right here. Goku tells Vegeta, "Vegeta, I feel like I finally understand what Saiyan Pride is about, or rather, I remember what it's about along with my dad's voice." First time he's saying dad, by the way, which is awesome. "The thing is, I haven't had total faith in my power." That is true. The entirety of, I would say, not just this arc, but ever since he had Ultra Instinct, Goku has not been himself. he has not been fully assured of his own power and that he can do anything. I've lost sight of it as well. My burden is not the sins of all Saiyans, but our people's pride, which is something that Vegeta used to say all the time. He used to talk about pride constantly. And then Vegeta says this, why did it have to be your father of all people who helped me realize this? And then Vegeta says something here that I don't want to really go over right now because like this is probably going to be part of another video here. But anyway, Vegeta is realizing what real pride is, meaning that he never really knew what it was. And Goku never knew what it was. And so now we get back to this. This meme has been going around the Dragon Ball community and I absolutely hate it. It shows the epic scene where Bardock says a Saiyan would rather die than run from an enemy, and then we cut to Vegeta in the Saiyan saga trying to get back into his ship because he's running away from Krillin of all people, because Krillin is going to kill him. He's escaping, he's trying to leave. He would rather leave than die. And I'm telling you right now, everything I just told you, that's the reason the Granolah arc is important, and that's the reason that Bardock is important, because that was the first time that Vegeta understood what actual Saiyan pride was. Vegeta is different from Bardock. Bardock, in that fight, in everything that we've seen in the Granolah arc and in Dragon Ball Minus, he has lived his entire life in the Saiyan world. Maybe ruled by Frieza at some point, but it's still the Saiyan world. And so he lived Saiyan pride day in and day out. Vegeta, on the other hand, was a child when Planet Vegeta was destroyed. Then he was raised by Frieza, who is basically his de facto dad, and what other Saiyan survivors were kind of left, which by the end was only Nappa and Raditz. So Vegeta has no idea what real Saiyan pride is. He does not have any idea at all because he never lived it. He only heard stories of it either from Frieza or from Nappa and Raditz. He just never really had a huge understanding of what Saiyan pride actually was. He just saw it as a fairy tale. That's why whenever he faced somebody that was way stronger than him, he always buckled under that pressure because he couldn't believe it, and that was very toxic to him. He just never had an actual idea of what Saiyan pride actually is. He just heard stories of it, fairy tales. That's why scenes from DBZ where Vegeta is talking about Frieza and what he took away from him, and just talking about Frieza candidly, and even just this scene from DBS Manga where he sees Frieza as a huge obstacle, is because Frieza took away his Saiyan pride, or even just the knowledge of what he could have gained for his life from the Saiyan pride. So he has just this very twisted version of Saiyan pride all the way up until the Granolah arc, and that is why it's so important. So now fast forward to the new chapter where Goku is fighting against Gohan in a better controlled version of Master Ultra Instinct, because now Goku with the Saiyan pride has better understanding of his own power. He's been training for years now to master it. And we see that Vegeta facing off against Broly, it looks like his Ultra Ego has been blended into his base, and now he can take more punishment, and he doesn't really have to go into Ultra Ego. He's got more control over it because he has been training it and focusing his power into it, and not having a weight on his back by the sins of the Saiyans. So we are seeing two completely different Goku and Vegetas here, two Saiyans that understand what real Saiyan pride is, and this would have never been possible without Bardock showing what it is and explaining it to them from the past. And that is why Bardock is one of my favorite characters, because he is just such a badass. Even his revamped form is such a badass. I don't care what anybody says. I love the minus version of Bardock, and I think that he is just as cool as the original DBZ version. That's why it's so interesting going into the future of DBS now, because we have two Saiyans, Goku and Vegeta, that know about Saiyan pride, and we can finally see what that does to their transformations, their fighting capability, and their state of mind, and more importantly, what Goku thinks of his father in the future, and if he's interested in knowing more. But that's basically what I got. I just really hate this image that much, and I needed a way to dive into it and kind of explain it because people are laughing at it, and I think it's not really funny because it's not true, or there's a lot more complex issues at play behind the image that nobody else is talking about. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Subscribe for more content.